Hello friends, welcome to my YouTube channel Easy Aviation. Here we discuss about the short simple topic about the aviation field. Today's topic of discussion is lift force in an aviation. So I'll explain in a way, in a very layman, in a very simple term. So there are two explanations. First is by the Newton's force or the action, Newton's law of motion governed by them motion, which is a action reaction could say action reaction method of explaining a lift force. Second is the Bernoulli's method. So yeah, in a very layman term, let's say there is a slab, okay, and it is kept in a fluid which is moving at a velocity v. So you can see because of this area you could have a little bit of push here. However, there is no force which will act at the and no force which will lift the slab or which will act in this direction. However, if we put the same slab at a particular angle and then a fluid with a velocity v is moving, you can completely see that there is a push which will act on this slab, which is known as lift force. Or you can say in a vertical upward direction there is a component of this lift force which will lift the slab, and the other force is known as drag, which we'll discuss at some other day. So this is the lift force which will lift the slab in a upward direction. Same analogy you can have in a kite. Let's say there is a kite, it is tied with a rope, and because of the winds blowing from the bottom to the upward direction, this kite is going upward because of the lift force, and then there is a tension in the rope known as T. You can have the same analogy with the plane. So this is a plane, this is the main wing. This is the first method which I am explaining. This is the Newton's governed by the Newton's law of motions. So there is a force, there is a velocity wind with a velocity v acting at the bottom of the main wing, tail wing, and then there is a lift force which is acting on the plane, which lift the plane, right, which move the plane upward. However, there is also an engine which is pulling it through the which is pulling the or holding the position of the plane because of the engine, which is the analogous of the rope which is holding the kite or keeping the kite in the position. So I hope you have understood the first method. I'll just erase it. I'll again explain that if a body is kept at some angle and there is a kept in an angle in a fluid, and a fluid is moving with the velocity, there is a force which is governed by the Newton's law of motion and which creates a lift moving the slab upward. Another method is like with the advancement of the technology, engineering, instead of using a slab, okay, the problem with the slab is that the engine which I have discussed, which is fitted, should be a very powerful engine, has to provide more thrust because the drag force is too much. So we'll explain it some other day. We'll consider on this lift forces. So just since we have to use a more thrust, more powerful engine, the cost is going up. So another method, or with the advancement of the engineering, the main wing, instead of having a flat plate, we are using this kind of structure known as aerofoil structure. Aerofoil structure are the structure which produce more lift than the drag, and if anything which provides more drag than the lift are known as air brake. So as you can see, the same which is kept in a fluid with moving with the velocity v. Here area is less, a1, and here area is more. So the velocity 1, I'll just write a1 is less, a2 is more. So velocity 1 will be higher as compared to the velocity 2 because of the continuity equation. A1 v1 is equal to a2 v2 is equal to constant, and this is so we have to make the constant. So area, if the area is reduced, the velocity will increase. And another is the Bernoulli's equation, which we know pressure energy plus kinetic energy plus potential energy is constant. Potential energy is not of the much concern in the field because there's no much difference in the potential. However, the kinetic energy, the velocity which is increased, which reduce the pressure at the upward side, because you have to give a constant addition of all the energy. So as we have discussed, in an area of concern, if there is a aerofoil, there is a area at the top is less, so the pressure is reduced at the top, and because of the difference in pressure, difference in pressure, there is a force which will act on the upward side. So that's how this upward force is known as lift force, and that's how the lift is generated. So I'll just conclude my video. There are two methods. There is a plane and the aerofoil structure. So first is because of the Newton's law of motion, if there is a action, there is a velocity which will, there is a fluid which will acting at the bottom plate, because of which there is a reaction force and known as lift force. And because of the pressure difference of the bottom and the upward, there is a low pressure at the top which will gives a upward force known as lift force, and because of this lift force the aircraft is flying upward. And this is the explanation, a layman explanation of the lift force. So here I conclude my video. If you have any queries, any specific question about this explanation, you can put it in the comment section. Here I sign off. Thank you to listen my video. Thank you.